Okay, think we're good? Think we're good. Alright, we are here for the next game of the Good Omens Invitational. Today is Azote versus Djinncito. Um, we've got Support of the Lion HMT Unicorn with Prepared Ambushes, Take Up Commands, and Makeshift War Camps, and for Greater Glories, which does amazing work with Combo Lock Benefactor. So this is a very aggressive deck, and it can go wide and persist pretty quickly. Looks like they're getting ready to start, so we'll do quick on Djinncito. This is the new version of Crane Dueling, Keeper of Void Unicorn Splash. So we see all of these standard dueling unicorn tricks with the Doji Diplomat as the RL card and Honor's Reward as the Fire Province instead of Shameful, not Shameful. Jesus, if only it was Shameful. Magistrate Station. That's the thing. Everything else here, pretty standard. Keeper of Unicorn, we've got Talisman of the Sun, Favored Mounts, Steed of the Steppes for an extra stand, and Hunting Falcons for scouting. And Gaijin Customs. Wow, he crammed a lot into this. And they are off. I have good timing sometimes. And make sure I'm not missing anything. Cool. Alright. Yeah, unfortunately you guys are just stuck with me today. Panos was occupied. Make sure... Yep, card text is visible if I'm up there. Okay, cool. Myself a little bit centered. Oh, the fun things. I've got the desktop muted. If anyone wants to hop in and co-cast, more than welcome to. We can set up a Discord call. This is always more enjoyable when there are multiple people, but that's fine. Make sure that's good. Yep, and all of that is other stuff. Okay, so we've got a Gunso, Benefactor, Infantry, Yasumura, and Tetsuko on the Unicorn side, so kind of spoiled for choice. And we see a Cunning Negotiator and two Challengers. Oh, we see a Daidoji Uji purchased with 2 Fate. That's going to be spicy. This is Keeper of Void, so it's not likely he's going to have any Fate for movement, so he could quite likely lose a province, maybe 2 this turn. But he is going to get to fish out 4 cards he just wants access to or isn't useful in this matchup. Gunso, standard unicorn things, gets a Border Rider, super standard unicorn things. Djinncito passes, because nothing else he can do. Those 2 Kakita Dojos means Uji is going to get honored very easily, as long as someone stands in the way. The Yasumura on the Wind's Path is less than ideal. I think if you're a unicorn player and you're going to run Wind's Path, you probably want to run logistics as well, just to maximize the amount of value you can get out of it. I expect we'll see the Combo Lock bot, obviously with nothing. Draws 2 cards, which is just amazing. But Flater's bid 5, because it's civilized L5R. Oh, I guess Djinncito did get Passing Fate, so Talisman, Gaijin Customs, yep, 2 Gaijin Customs, maybe a Favored Mount. A couple things open up for him to play, especially since the Hunting Falcons are free. That really enables Gaijin Customs quite easily. And Djinncito is first on the play. So, that Water Ring looks really good. Keeping that Combo Lock Benefactor out of conflict is nothing. However, he passes. That feels relatively safe because there's no Yasa on the table. This does break one of the inviolate rules of Unicorn, which is see Yasa, buy Yasa. Hopefully it doesn't end up biting him in the butt. Does he have all three dojos? He does have all three dojos there. Alright. With that kind of flip, I'm surprised he didn't pick up a Doji Challenger. Alright, Kakita Dojo on the Border Rider. This should be an easy 1-to-1 bid. Attempting to win that is just not worth the effort. But now Azote is going to have to play a bunch of cards to try and get a break here. Join the Fray. I can't play Join the Fray. I don't have enough money. That's unfortunate. Oh, you can't play Join the Fray. He can Join the Fray Tetsuko. That will do a lot to shut down Djinncito's plans, and that is what we see happen. But I'm willing to bet there's a Voice of Honor under Uji, and there is. So there's that. Fine Katana comes out from underneath Uji as well. We see Azote play Prepared Ambush on there. That can get the Utaku Infantry, which is a decent size bump here. And then that does, well, I guess the Shinneman Wayfinder's already free. Alright, Ujik Tactics. If he was going to get the Utaku Infantry, this is a oh wait, hang on. Yeah, it is Prepared Ambush. That's a misplay, because he should have got the Infantry first and then played Ujik Tactics for extra bonus. Uji gets a new name out from underneath him. I guess he's got a false ID. Fine Katana from hand. There's the Utaku Infantry out of sequence. If he had bought that first before playing the Ujik Tactics, he would have been up 2 more force. Shadow Steed on the combo block, so he's tied. There is another new name, so if he's going to be short by 1, that bad sequencing is really going to cost him. Ambusher comes in. Man, I like that sequencing even less, because that could have been an extra 3, so he'd be threatening a break now instead. That Ujik Tactics was super premature. Dishonoring Uji is actually a big enough deal, because decent odds that there's a Gaijin Tactics underneath him. Djinncito drops a formal invite. I don't know. That might be for an RTO, because that makes him 7 political. There's another Ujik Tactics. That super doesn't feel necessary. There's a Voice of Honor to cancel that one. A lot of cards being played here. Assassination on the infantry from Uji. That is surprising. Kind of spicy though. Yurt for money. That's a little risky, and now Uji being honored doesn't matter at all except for the stat boost. All his tricks have been played. What are we looking for here? How did that happen? Is that a bug on Wind's Path? What am I missing? Or was there one hiding on Wind's Path that I just missed? Okay, we see a Kakita Dojo duel on the combo block. There's another Shadow Steed on Tetsuko. That Benefactor has generated a bunch of value now. Uh, I think we're going to see Azote dump the entire hand, though. Well, no, he doesn't have to. Because he can stand the combo lock, the Tetsuko, and the Border Rider, which are really the only ones he cares about keeping around next turn, assuming there's a For Greater Glory in hand. I guess the combo lock doesn't get saved for Greater Glory, so that doesn't matter, except for the cost reduction. Talisman comes down. That's probably going to take a trip over to Shameful. I'm still somewhat befuddled as to how that Tetsuko got into play. I'm not going to lie, I'm not sure what happened there. So Talisman moves over to Shameful, so that'll cause enough to lose, unless more hand gets dumped. I don't think we haven't seen any bonsais come down on either side yet. There's a 2-point. I assume there's bonsai. Yeah, there's 2 bonsais in here. And we see one of them. Okay. This is both players have dumped hands. The fact that most of Djinncito's hand is sitting on Uji is actually kind of important. Pardon me. We see Djinncito pass. There's a pass there. So Gunso eats it to HMT. We see spoils from more stuff. Firing is going to dishonor Uji. So we're looking at a Gaijin Customs to stand. Oh, it's prepare to ambush is how Tetsuko came into play. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. It's fine. Okay. It took me a second. So we see some honor dumped. Border Rider stands. Combo block is probably going to get moved non-favorable. So, yep, there's a conflict pass from Djinncito. Here, I think you have to take a crack at City of the Rich Frog, because that has all the value on it. So going in there going in there with 6 military, no pass. I expect combo block gets moved in, and then a For Greater Glory gets played. No For Greater Glory. All right. Okay, so City breaks, losing 2 challengers and a dojo stings quite a bit. Hits a court game on the Earth Ring. So combo lock is going to stand off the Shadow Steed. This is definitely a very aggressive play or turn out of Unicorn. It's kind of got to be. Djinncito passes. So I think you have to go Void. That is really the only ring that matters, in my opinion, right now. And Shameful's good, because that way, if Djinncito wants to leverage Suma, he's going to have to pitch the third dojo, which is a significant thing. But that requires him to break Shameful. Shameful's been used, so Azote might favorable grounds in Tetsuko. Oh no, we see the formal invite, so now you bring in Tetsuko to stop cards from being played. Brings the Border Rider in. What does the Border Rider do here? Besides, not nearly enough. Oops, too far. Curve. There's no other stands? I don't know. Djinncito honors Uji off of court games. I guess we find out now what the Border Rider's supposed to do. Ah, Tessin. Okay. Tessin works. And there's a break on Shameful. That's a big deal. Things are looking pretty good for Unicorn right now. Honor, I think, is going to be largely irrelevant here. They're going to be tied on it. Who cares? Definitely up on cards. 2 Shadow Seeds come back. That's okay. And there is another Tetsuko sitting in the provinces under Minamikaze regulars, plus a Yasamura, and Azote is attacking first next turn. And we see another Comblock Benefactor, Cunning Negotiator, and a Kaizen. I think Djinncito has to buy the Negotiator here. Because that can turn on a Kageyu overlay. The other province that Djinncito has is Pursuit of Justice and Honor's Reward. I'm guessing Pursuit is under the box. Man, Comblock Bot gets 2 more cards. That card has done a lot of work this game, and in every game I've seen it. So I think here, and this is Shuto Encampment. Yeah, I think Djinncito does buy the Cunning. Both players pass. Djinncito bids 5, Azote bids 1. That is a huge amount of dishonor pressure that's being applied now. I'm not super keen on the Benefactor's chances here at doing anything, because that is a pile of stats on both of them. And we've seen 2 Voice of Honors burned, and I don't believe there are any other cancels in that deck. I know Defender Honors, so I don't think Cab Reserves are super likely to land here. Goes Air, goes Military. We see the big Defend. Falcon on the Negotiator, sees the Endless Plains. Still can't tell which one. I assume it's under the Shiotomi encampment. That's a huge scout. Like, curved blade gets up to 6. There's a bunch more work that has to be done to break this province, though. Another curved blade. Djinncito is just going to sit here and do nothing. Shadow Steed, so that'll be the combo block will be 2 conflicts. I'm guessing we'll see the other Shadow Steed come down. That's right. There was a tea house, and Uji apparently knows the bouncer at the tea house. Flash's ID made him kick the steed out. I don't think there's anything reasonable here Azote can do to win, let alone break. Tries to push cav reserves. That's going to get cancelled. Stats aren't anywhere. It's an 8 to 15, so this 100% is a snap play of Defend Your Honor. Is there a second one? That'd be kind of spicy. He was getting the Tetsuko, and the Border Rider gives him a total of 5, which is still not enough. We see a Wind's Pathing of Yasamura into play. That's not going to do much of anything. I think if Azote doesn't win this conflict, I think the game is going to slip away quite quickly. There is another attempt to cav reserves. And that one lands. That's going to present the problem. Favorable ground pulls in the Cunning Negotiator. Shinneman comes in for free. I expect we're going to get bounced over to the tea house now. And if that is Honor's Reward, that should shut down the conflict. If it's the Pursuit of Justice, it probably won't break. Okay, so we see Cunning Negotiator do a duel that doesn't matter, just to get the honor. So still winning here. There's a Bonsai. That takes him to 4 over, which is enough to break Suma, but not enough to break the tea house once it gets talismaned over. If it doesn't get talismaned over, Djinncito's in a rough spot because unless he's got a Gaijin Customs in hand, his Kageyu overlay is going to go away. Unicorn's done a really good job of applying pressure here. I know yesterday, in one of my long rambles, was it this deck or the other deck? Maybe it was the other deck. I've slept since then. We see that stunning core gameplay, though, of trading Bonsai for Bonsai. There's a pass. Does Djinncito have anything else to... He does not. That is going to be real tricky now. Because we're going to see HMT trigger, Djinncito down to 1, can't really afford to attack unless he has 2 stands. We do see the Kageyu overlay. Shiotomi straightens Tetsuko. This is a real rough spot for Djinncito here. I don't think he can attack. Unless he's got a Gaijin Customs, like, right now. Well, no, he could go water, actually, and stand Uji off of that. He knows where the Endless Plains is, so he should be fine doing that. It goes political. Shouldn't be much Azote can do, unless there's a captive in hand. I know I glanced at the provinces. Upholding authority. I mean, if you're going to attack, you have to go there. You can't go to Endless Plains. We see no defense, so it looks like we're just going to let this happen. Steed of Steps, so that'll stand Kageyu, so Djinncito is likely to hang around, I say hang around, hang in the game for 2 more conflicts. His hand is going to be pretty severely punished. Court games, Wealth of the Crane, Way of the Crane. I guess you take the Wealth? Takes the Court games. Uji gets readied. That Steed of Steps is actually going to create something of an issue on the attack here. I think it might have been better to stand the Yasamura with Shiotomi encampment. So there's the defend. So we're going to see Kageyu stand up. Hang on a second. How did he gain an honor off the Cunning Negotiator leaving? Because Kageyu's still on. I don't know. Apparently I'm not super with it today. Interesting is attacking with Kageyu. So there's another Steed of the Steps hiding somewhere. Or Ghostfire, that'll end up dishonoring the Border Rider. So we do see a defense that stops a break, which is important. The big tower dies, but Djinncito will go up to 3 honor now, which is a little safe. The provinces he has to attack into are pretty good, actually. City of the Rich Frog is squishy. Wind's Path doesn't really do anything. Boards are, I mean, obviously Djinncito's up, but not terrifyingly so like he was before. That Shiatomi encampment is going to live the rest of the game, though. Because Djinncito's not going to go there for endless plains. There's another Uji. Good time for that one to die. Or for the old one to die. So 4 more cards are going to get fished out. Djinncito might have to be mindful of how many cards are left in his conflict deck. We're definitely living in a land of one biz though, so the game is slowing down. Yeah, that's neat. Discord shows that I'm streaming. That's neat. I didn't know it did that. Okay, so 4 more cards have been pulled out. And Azote's provinces are not looking super hot here. We see Alti 2 get bought. So that's going to fish out a wide board. That's all Azote buys. I guess that's all he could buy, right? Because Tetsuko costs 3 and he's got 1 fate left. Math is hard. Both players bid 2. Interesting. I did not expect that. Huh. Go over there, everything go over there. Okay, cool. So Djinncito's on the attack here. There's that Wealth of the Crane. Pardon me. Probably looking for storehouses and favorable grounds. I don't think there's any other holdings left in the deck. Proving grounds would be good. All the dojos are gone. Okay, we do see a storehouse and a proving ground, which is probably what he was looking for. A favorable ground is also good. Now he just needs some duels in hand to start the party. The tea house, the Forsaken tea house, not super critical. Azote is not running. I mean, he's got a bunch of attachments, but none of them really matter. Like 2 curve plays are gone, can't target that. Take a command's not doing anything. Tessin is kind of dumb because bouncing it back after it's been played just gives your opponent another stand. So we see the Way of the Crane, Honor Uji. Fine Katana comes out from underneath Uji, and Storehouse gets popped. That is a big pile of stats going at a squishy province. So I don't see this ending any way but one. I don't even think you can defend with Alton Sarnai successfully. Is Djinncito on duelist training? Yes. So downside is the favorable grounds means Uji will at some point be opposed for a duel. So that'll trigger a bunch of card draw. And I would not be surprised if there was at least one duelist training underneath Uji. I believe Djinncito has stabilized here. Because that'll, if he plays 2 duelist trainings or a duelist training, that's cards that he needs. Okay, so we see Richrod break. We did see the Shadow Steed come down on Alton Sarnai, spending the fate before it got voided away. So there's only one Talisman of the Sun, unless I'm mistaken. There's 2. I'm mistaken. There's only one Steed of Steps. Okay. So Talismaning over to Pursuit of Justice is super bad, which means that Uji may have a Talisman underneath him. That's the great thing about Uji's, fish for 4 cards. Djinncito can set up his perfect hand here. So even though they are tied on number of cards, I think the quality of Djinncito's is going to be higher. Also because they're not unicorn cards. And crane cards are probably better than unicorn cards for the most part. Okay, so we see Earth at Suma. Both players' decks passed the halfway point for Conflict, and both really close on Dynasty as well. I think we see the favorable grounds. Uji comes in. Duelist training's probably going to show up. Alton Sarnai goes to fish characters. Gets a Moto Youth. There's a Talisman from underneath Uji, so that's going to go over Pursuit and then Stand. So this conflict is all but done in name, except I think we're going to see a duelist training come down as well. And okay, RTO. So there's no winning this. It should just be 1 bids both ways. That was a bad bid by Azote, unless he was looking to tank his honor for some reason. Because there was no way, like he's at 5 base, so there was no way he was ever going to win that duel. So we go over to Pursuit of Justice. Uji's going to, spicy play. I like it. Ambusher comes down to stop Pursuit from triggering. That burns the RTO. That's hot. And Djinncito says ouch, and that is the correct sentiment here. And he now does not have any fate for duelist trainings. Woo! Spicy. That could legitimately turn things around here. Ambusher's probably going to eat it. 6 of one, half dozen the other on who eats it on HMT. There's a break. Pitches a Gaijin Customs. I think, I don't recall if the Earth Ring had fate on it, but going water was the better choice there. Shiotome readies Alton Sarnai, and she is a chunky body on political as well, which is kind of nice. He should have used the Shadow Steed to ready Alton Sarnai instead if he's going to defend, because the Tea House is going to bounce the Shadow Steed back to his hand, and Alton Sarnai will stay bowed. Let's take a quick scroll through and see. We had a bunch happen in that conflict. That's on void. There was no fate on the Earth Ring. Oh man. Azote should have gone water just to deny that. Because then you wouldn't have to do shit here. Man, that's a bunch of sad pants. Because if that water ring was off the table, Alton Sarnai or Djinncito wouldn't be able to attack. And that can give you, or that could give you some more aggression and leverage here, which is unfortunate that it played out this way. Or you could have used a Shadow Steed to stand instead. Oh wait, never mind. I know, because now he's just going to stand Uji. And now Uji is 5 political and 11 military. Although Unicorn's good at military conflicts, so that ain't nothing. Except it's an honors reward under there, so Uji's actually going to be friggin' enormous. So if that's the case, maybe take a hot run at Suma instead. Political gives you your best bet, and we've seen all 3 court games. So the question is Azote on court games? Azote is not. So takes a run at the box. So this conflict is over. Uji's absolutely going to defend. And basically just sit there and look super pretty. On a side note, does anyone know if the art on Honors Reward is a story related piece of artwork, or is it just, where did it go? Random samurai dude has killed. Wow, Djinncito decides not to defend, and Uji gets dishonored. That was a bold play. Alton Sarnai readies. That matters, I guess. Because there's going to be another conflict, but it's actually at this point he should take a run at Suma. Oh no, now Uji's not as big as he was. He's just 9. So he can get over that to win the conflict. I don't think he can get over it to break though. Chooses to pass his conflict, so that was a needless point of honor spent. And favor stays with Djinncito. Azote's been doing real good, keeping up like a relentless amount of pressure here, especially since his board basically evaporates every turn. Not the best of flips here, and the veterans on Suma is going to be big. I know I've said this before, but I don't think Azote can get over this. Because the most he can put into a military conflict is 12. If everything goes in, is 12. And the veterans is 8 on its own. plus the 9 from Uji. And if I'm being real honest, Djinncito can actually get away with buying a Whisperer and running that at Endless Plains. Because it'll break either way. We see a Diplomat come out and get honored. That can also walk it at Endless Plains. Or you can buy Venetsu and not have to worry about Endless Plains text at all. Although the Doji Diplomat does that just as well, so not strictly speaking a necessity. So that means under Azote's box is Driven by Courage. Okay, Azote passes for Fate. Chagatai stays in the province, so join the fray, quite likely. Djinncito bids 3, Azote bids 1. If only he hadn't have done that weird 3-bid in that duel. I apologize for the random street noises that are being heard now. My neighbors are doing things. Okay, so what do you do here as Azote? Military makes sense. I mean, yeah, that just Uji defending is probably sufficient. We'll probably see it join the fray. And or another Cav Reserves. I assume Azote is on 3. Yeah. And we've seen 2. Yep. So, yeah, join the fray and a Cav Reserves can get him real close. Maybe. I mean, it can get him, what, a Tetsuko, a Border Rider, and a Youth. Tetsuko, Yasumura, and Youth. There's a Defender Honor, so Uji say no. Uji gets re-honored. Do we see another Cav Reserves? Although for Fate efficiency, just joining the fray on the Chagatai would be better, but I don't think that's even going to be enough. After this path, I expect we're going to see 2 Diplomats walk at Endless Plains on water, and then Uji walk forward on the Ring of Doesn't Matter. Okay, Azote ejects for some defense, and we see pass. Really? Yeah, I was gonna say don't go to Wind's Path, go to Endless Plains. So there's the Endless Plains flip. It may as well trigger. With Doji Diplomat, will diplomatically get lost in a field of grass. What? Water on this one, yep, so Uji's going to stand up, and then we're going to see some aggressive walking at... Hey Tomoya, how's it going? I haven't heard of any more games after this one. Um, Let me check real quick. Actually, I'll have to get back to you on that. I know Usagi's probably streaming on the Spanish streams for this, but I will ping him real quick without pinging him. Okay, so as expected, Uji stands up. For Crane's next trick, Uji will walk aggressively at the province. So attacking here I don't think is going to accomplish anything, because there is a talisman sitting right there. So Djinncito doesn't even have to defend. He can just let Azote play cards until he's tired of playing cards and then move it over to Suma. Yeah, I guess if he's feeling spicy, he can defend the Diplomat. I shouldn't have clicked off that window. That needs to stay up. Okay. Decides to defend with Uji. That feels overly cautious. Honestly, the Veterans of Toshirambo is big enough to break on its own. We haven't seen any Gaijin customs. RTO works super just as well here. Still is overly cautious, I think, and not necessary. But it all worked out the same in the end. So we are going to have a grand whopping total of 11, 19, 20, 21 force. Okay, Tessin on the infantry. Is there a second Tessin on the infantry? Oh, there's a duelist training out from under Uji. Hey Tomoya, since you're here, got a question for you. How hard would it be to add some text to reflect when a card's coming out from under Uji instead of just watching a counter tick down? So there's the 21 attack. There's an attempt to join the fray. A defender. No, it came down from. It ticked down from 2 to 1. Or am I just that bad that I missed it? Because I could have swore I've seen cards come out from under Uji without text. Yep, there's a Defender Honor. It was at 1? Okay. Never mind. Ignore me. No, you can't make me scroll up in chat. You're not my real mom. I don't have to do what you say. So there's duelist training to bow. So this is... That ambusher is going to boldly attempt things that it cannot achieve here. Yeah, there's a pass, driven by courage, and there's the final pass. Okay. That is the game. Unicorn put up a hell of a show and was super aggressive in the early game, and I super dug it. Unfortunately, I think Crane managed to stabilize and start clawing it back. Okay, so I will scroll up and see Okay, so buys Daidoji Uji, turn 3. Wealth of the Crane. No, nothing on here has came from Uji text. The RTO. That's the first time we've seen that, though. Like so far, like it, he bought it that turn, and the RTO was the first card that has that text on it. So I wonder, are attachments somehow being missed on this? Because it was the duelist training that didn't get seen. I don't know. Stunning troubleshooting talk here. Great, great for streams. But no, I don't think there's really much else to say about this. Unicorn still does. I don't want to say. I mean, it's fair. It does badly against dueling Crane. Um, I think maybe some slightly different decisions being made may have pushed a little harder. But at the end of the day, like Unicorn just has a terrible time against towers. Um, and the fact that Uji is basically an 8-4 to start with is really hard for them to get over. Um, I have not heard back yet if there's any other games today. If there are, I will ping them up on the Discord and ping everyone so they are aware. And thank you guys for joining me. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.